Hi, it's Laura from the Charleston Holistic Center, and today I'm going to talk about one thing that I absolutely love about combining shamanism with all of the work I do to create your better life. The reason I use shamanic techniques is, and that I love about this, is that we can get to issues, problems, whatever you need to deal with, that you can't get to easily with other techniques. You just can't do it. And I'll give you a very clear example. So I had a client, she was in her early 30s, came into my office. She didn't have any love relationship that was working. Her career was stagnated. Um, and she'd lost a lot of her friends. And in particular, we traced it back to the fact that her adoptive mother rejected her by the time she was 3. Now, when you think about it, most of the time, if somebody's going to adopt, especially if they adopt a baby, right? They bond and they really want that child. That's why they adopted. But her adoptive mother rejected her. And nothing she ever did was ever good enough, was ever anything. She was antagonistic. And she wasn't that way. They had another adopted child, and she wasn't that way with the other child. By age 3, completely rejected her. And it wasn't like she suddenly had a blood child either. The other adoptive child was older. So there was no change in the dynamic there. This rejection colored everything in her life. So I did a past life retrieval. It's a shamanic technique where I go back and I view the past life and see what went on. It's not a hypnotic regression, which is a technique, but not one I do, where you go back and you experience whatever horrible and hideous thing that happened. So, what I saw in a nutshell was that her adoptive mother in this life was a warlord in that life and slaughtered her entire clan except for a few. She escaped only by accident. They thought she was dead. Slaughtered her entire clan. So in this life, her mother, completely unconscious of this, treats her like the enemy. From what my guides told me, they were supposed to make up in this life. They were supposed to fix this. But the mother's completely unconscious of this. And her soul hasn't connected to what one of her purposes was. I come back, I tell my client, she goes, "Oh my God, this makes so much sense." She suddenly realized that she herself had never done anything wrong to her mother. Never. It wasn't her fault, like she'd been told her whole life. She wasn't wrong at the core of her being, like she'd been told her whole life. It shifted everything. She moved. She started her own business. She found a love partner. They married, and they now have a lovely daughter. She still has an antagonistic relationship with her mother. because her mother's unconscious of this. But she doesn't allow her mother to trample all over her. She doesn't allow her mother to behave badly toward her child, her mother's grandchild. 1 hour of work shifted her entire life. That is why I love working with shamanic techniques, because that's just one example of many. Thank you, and namaste.